This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Back Home Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Chabruggi, and joining me tonight from down there from Arizona is Derek Relaford. How's it going down there tonight, Derek?
Hey, pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Not too bad. It's been a pretty good day today.
Yeah, man. I had a pretty long day at work. I stayed out a little later than normal, but I gotta tell you, man, I'm having fun, ready to do the show, and I'm ready for bed as soon as we're done. That's how I feel.
I hear you.
Do you work early tomorrow or in the afternoon?
I think afternoon, maybe. I'm gonna have to double check for sure.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to be at work. I have to be at my first stop every morning at 8 a.m., but usually I get up around 6:30 and start getting around. But
right.
2 more days. I'm off Sundays and Mondays, but yeah, really looking forward to it. Real quick, we again want to shout out to Jeff Butler. The last 2 months of episodes were unairable on the podcast. Ricky was having a lot of computer issues with the computer that we had got him a couple years ago. Jeff Butler, he's a real estate agent in Kansas. You can see his information on the screen. He donated a computer to the show. And as you can see, Ricky is beaming, looking great, looking professional. Yep. We love it. So thank you to Jeff Butler, 100%. Chris Unruh says, hi, Ricky and Derek.
You can really see the wrinkles in my face now.
You can see the gray in your beard, but
yeah.
Is it just for men up top, man? We dyeing it yet?
No, it's natural.
That's
my
natural,
real color. I haven't done anything to it.
You're the Howard Stern of Kansas radio.
I guess, man.
No gray in your hair. Trisha Arnold, hello, everyone. Please remember to share the feed. Of course,
please
do that. Esther Unruh is here.
Yep.
Don Robin did something. I'm assuming maybe he donated some stars.
Cool.
Thank you so much. She says, hi, Chris. Don says, thank you, Jeff Butler. Of course, yeah, very much so.
Definitely. I appreciate it greatly.
We can totally see and hear Ricky perfectly. Judy Dunn says she has shared the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Judy.
We're going to go ahead and get into some cases real quick. Before we do, I wanted to let everybody know that if you want to help out Ricky with future problems we run into for this show and just help him out for all the work he does, you can go to patreon.com/KMUpod and you can sign up as a sponsor there. You can give him $1, a couple dollars, and it's like a monthly contribution, and it goes straight to Ricky, and you can really help him out with everything he's trying to do. So patreon.com/KMUpod.
Hey, Natasha, how you doing?
Hey, Natasha. So check that out, and you can keep up. You can actually talk to Ricky there when you're a patron. But let's go ahead and talk about Kiara King. You said you updated a new photo on this.
Yeah, we've covered Kiara before. I was sent the picture on the right there. I'm not really. I mean, I don't like the effects, but I mean, it does show Kiara's new hairstyle, so I added it. It's the one on the right there. She's missing from Parsons, Kansas since January 24th of this year. She's 16. She is 6'3", 265 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Kiara's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kiara located and back to where she needs to be.
Yeah, it's definitely been a little while since she's been missing. 6'3". I'm wondering if she played basketball or anything in school. Like
that's an interesting question. I don't know.
And that's probably like tall people probably hate that question. You play basketball? They're like, why? Because I'm tall. But I don't know. Anytime I see 6'3", I'm like, wow, she's probably pretty good at basketball. Uh, 6'3" is a good thing to be. But yeah, I'm hoping that we can get her found. I'm not sure how big Parsons is. Do you know off the top of your head how
It's
big
a
Parsons
smaller
is?
size tent. I'm not sure what the population or anything is, but it's a smaller size.
Let me see. So about 9,600 people.
Oh wow.
So that's pretty small. Not tiny, but it's pretty small. So, yeah, that's rough. It's rough whenever a kiddo goes missing in a smaller community like that. You feel like there's less places to look, but hopefully they can track her down.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get her found back to where she needs to be.
Lacey Culbertson says, "Appreciate you both."
Thank you, Lacey. Appreciate that.
Very much so. Let's go ahead and talk about Jasmine, a Wichita case.
Okay, Jasmine. Hopefully I can say this last name right. I think it's Uriosty. I'm hoping. Missing since March 4th of this year, so just for a few days now. She's 17, 5'9", 200 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen in the 3800 block of North Pepperidge Street in Wichita. And she's 17, 5'9", 200 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. She does wear glasses, as you can see. If you have any information regarding Jasmine's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9452 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't get Jasmine located and back to where she needs to be.
I've probably asked you this in the past, but it's been long enough that I'm going to ask again. But what makes them make the call to tell you to put endangered runaway on there?
That's just something that I actually started doing right when COVID really started kicking off, because I felt like with the COVID being like it was and the pandemic as strong as it was going and stuff, I just felt like that was kind of what prompted it, because you didn't know if they had COVID or not, or just to me it made. But at the same time, I also consider missing in danger because they're missing, don't know where they're at, don't know who they're with, don't know if they're okay or not. So to me, I mean, that makes them endangered, too, because you don't know where they are, or what they're doing, or if they're being hurt, or if they're not being hurt.
The only thing I was thinking, and I thought maybe that the police had you word it that way. I don't see it as a bad word, but the R word is kind of a bad word in this world, because it could make some people be like, oh, it's just somebody who's going to run away again.
Yeah, that was I had to add runaway in there because they asked me to, because they said without it they were just being their phone was being blown up, asking why there's so many missing from Wichita. Why is there so many missing from Wichita? So
right, yeah, it makes sense
to actually do that. So
yeah, I was just curious, because I was just when I first started doing the show with you, I said that word a few times, and people were quick to say, "Hey, don't say that word,"
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
Don says, I think all under 18s especially are endangered when they go missing. Yeah.
I agree with you.
100%. It's definitely a big deal anytime someone that young goes missing,
Yeah.
You don't have resources out there in the world. Good luck. Good luck getting by. I'm a 40-year-old man, and if I didn't have my wallet, I'm pretty screwed if I'm 20 minutes from my house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's talk about Patsy Clark. This looks like this is quite a bit of an older case.
It actually is. This is Patsy, I think it's Delois Destelia Rydens Clark, missing from Little Rock, Arkansas since March 4th of 1987. She was 55 when she went missing. She'll now be 91. She's 5'3", 160 pounds, brown hair and green eyes. She was last seen by her ex-husband in Little Rock on March 4th, 1987. Although they were divorced, they still lived together. Her ex-husband stated he saw her getting into a taxi cab. However, there is no record of her cab fare, and she's never been heard from again. Patsy traveled extensively in 1987, would make visits sometimes unannounced to Memphis, Tennessee, Hot Springs, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, and elsewhere in Arkansas. Authorities have found no indication of foul play in her disappearance, but her son believes her disappearance is suspicious because she never picked up her Social Security checks that were her only source of income. According to Patsy's son, she was the victim of domestic violence for much of her life. She was declared legally dead 5 years after she was last seen. Patsy had previously fractured her pelvis and lower left leg. She has scars on her forehead and across the bridge of her nose, and a cesarean section scar on her abdomen. And if you have any information regarding Patsy's disappearance, please call Detective Jacob Passman at the Little Rock, Arkansas Police Department at 501-371-4660 or 501-371-4829, and see if we can't help get her located and back to where she needs to be. A few nights ago, I had a pretty extensive conversation with one of her sons, and they're searching for her every day. I mean, they're out there every day looking and putting up flyers. They've had billboards put up. I mean, they're looking everywhere. I mean, daily they're looking.
Wow.
Yeah.
And daily they're looking, and you're talking about daily they're looking since 1987.
Yeah. There's not a day goes by that and like I said, I talked to one of her sons, and he said they're out there searching every day for her, and they're also helping search for other missing persons as well. So I mean, they're out there. Yeah,
their mom's case kind of got him into the
field. Yeah. So I mean, they're really trying.
Wow, that's and honestly, you hate to speculate anytime, but you read this flyer and you're just like, it sounds like she was married to a dirtbag who says she got into a taxi and left, and no taxi driver. It's just I understand I wasn't in that house, but I understand completely how some of her children might feel like something fishy happened there.
Yeah. And even though it's been all these years, the cab company still has all their records, and they just have no record of her ever being picked up. So,
do you know if her husband's deceased?
I'm assuming so. I don't know. I meant to ask, and I asked her son, and I didn't do that. He doesn't have very many nice things to say about his dad. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. If she would be 91, I'm assuming he's probably deceased. Yeah. That's terrible. Well, I just made a note in my notebook. I want you to put me in contact with her son. I'd like to just talk to him and see if I can. I don't know. I like talking to. I've been talking to Michael Golub's family quite a bit. I don't know if anything is going to come of it, because last I talked to them, we were trying to buy the transcripts from the second trial, and it's pretty expensive, and so that's what we've been kind of talking about, trying to get done. But yeah, I'd like to put some more information out there in the world. Let's talk about Lisa Irwin. You said today that you had found out that they had just recently put this new age progression photo out.
Yeah, they got an age progression of her to 12 years old now. This is baby Lisa Irwin. She's missing from Kansas City, Missouri since October 3rd, 2011. She was 10 months old when she went missing. She'll now be 12 years old. I can't believe it's been 12 years since she's gone missing. It blew me away, because I didn't realize I hadn't updated her flyer in quite. It was like 5 years since the last time I updated. I thought, wow, I need to update her flyer. She was 2'6", 30 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. Let's see here. She was last seen about 6 p.m. on October 3rd, 2011, in the 3600 block of North Lister. In 2011, Deborah Brownlee, Lisa's mother, told police she saw Lisa when she put her into her crib. When Lisa's father, Jeremy Irwin, came home from work early the next morning, he says he found the front door open, several lights on, and Bradley asleep. When he went into Lisa's room, the crib was empty. And I'm going to give you a little bit more information on this too as well. Her mom, when she put her to bed with her pacifier, blanket, and some toys. Deborah last saw her daughter at either 6:40 or 10:30 p.m. Accounts differ. That evening, she was also caring for Lisa's two older half-brothers who were asleep in another room. She later admitted she'd been drinking wine that night and had gotten drunk, and she'd also was taking prescription medication for anxiety. Lisa's father, Jeremy Irwin, an electrician, came home from work at approximately 4 o'clock in the morning the next morning, and they discovered Lisa was gone. Several lights in the house were on. Lisa's bedroom window was open. The front door was unlocked. 3 cell phones were reportedly missing. Lisa's parents called 911 to report her missing shortly after 4 a.m. An extensive search of the immediate area turned up no sign of the baby. Authorities stated that Lisa's mother and father were less than cooperative with the investigation, something that Deborah and Jeremy denied. They were engaged to be married at the time of Lisa's disappearance, although Deborah was still legally married to another man and had a 6-year-old son by him. Deborah and her husband had been separated for about 4 years by 2010, and he was serving in the Army. Her husband stated he didn't believe Deborah would have harmed Lisa or been involved in her disappearance. 3 different witnesses saw a man walking down the road about 3 miles from Lisa's home at approximately 4 a.m. that night, carrying a baby dressed only in a diaper. It's unclear whether the sightings are connected to Lisa's case. Authorities have not named any suspects in the child's disappearance. Her parents have stated they believe she was abducted from her home late on October 3rd or early October 4th, possibly by a person who wanted to raise a baby. And of course, Lisa's case does remain unsolved. And again, when she went missing, she was 10 months old. She's now 12 years old. She's 2'8", 30 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. If you have any information regarding her disappearance, you can call Kansas City Tips Hotline at 816-474-8477 and let them know what you know about Lisa's case. Like it's been 12 years. Let's get some information going. Let's get this flyer out, get this show out. Let's see if we can help get some things stirred up and get some answers for about what happened to this little girl.
Yeah. I mean, that's completely terrible.
Yeah, it is.
10 months old.
Yeah, now 12 years old.
Yeah. You know, I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, probably more than I should, and hearing about like some of the evil that's out there in the world.
Yeah.
The case that the version that is still disgusting and awful, but Lisa's alive in this version, is that somebody couldn't have kids, stole her so they could raise a kid, and they raised her fine, but it's not their kid.
Right.
That doesn't happen super often, but it does happen. And whenever I see little babies like this go missing, like out of all the scenarios that could happen to somebody taking a baby, I kind of hope it's that. And even then, you're just hoping for the least worst thing out of all the worst things that happen, you know?
Right.
I hope she is 12, you know? I hope and I hope that age progress. And honestly, those age progression photos are very accurate, it seems like.
Sometimes, yeah. There's been some that were a little off, but more than times than not, I think they're close.
Yeah. Kelly Uphoff is late. No big deal. We are just getting started. David Clark says, thanks, Ricky.
Yeah. Another case I was wanting to talk about, and I completely forgot to include the flyer, was Madeline Kojikari, because I was reading earlier today that there was a break, and not really a break, but I don't know what terminology I want to use here, but kind of a major thing going on in her case. And I'll kind of go over that real quick here. Let me find the article again.
What's her name?
Madalena Kojikari, excuse me. Be a red bordered flyer because she's missing out of North Carolina. See if I can find that article. Let's see here. Basically, the headline states mother of Madalena Kojikari wanted to help smuggling daughter away from stepfather warrants show. And it says newly obtained search warrants reveal Madalena Kojikari's mother asked a distant relative if he had help with smuggling her and Madalena away. She also told him she was in a bad relationship with her husband, Christopher Palmater, and she wanted a divorce. According to the warrants, investigators reviewed phone records revealing extensive communications on December 2nd, 2022 with that relative. The person's phone records showed multiple calls to phone numbers belonging to unidentified targets involved in ongoing T3 drug narcotic trafficking investigations. On Thursday, February 10th, 2023 at 1:50 in the afternoon, the K9 alerted on alerted on the driver's side door of the vehicle, suspect Diana Kojikari's vehicle. The warrant said K9 is trained to alert to any and all narcotics. The dog also alerted on the vehicle on Monday, February 13th, 2023, when a search warrant for the vehicle was obtained. A warrant later suggested people associated with narcotics activity are also associated with human smuggling. An inventory of items seized from the car includes a debit card belonging to Diana Kojikari. Madalena is Romanian and Moldovan I don't think I said that right. Moldovan passports. Diana Kojikari's Romanian passport, miscellaneous education certificate, and work documents found in the center console. The Mecklenburg County Clerk of Superior Court released the search warrants Wednesday in response to an inquiry WCNC Charlotte made on February 21st, requesting potential new search warrants and any other subsequent documents. Records show the 2 new warrants were returned on March 7th. The warrants show police did not seize anything from Kojikari's home. Hannah Arrowwood, Executive Director of Present Age Ministries, a Charlotte area nonprofit organization fighting the exploitation and trafficking of teen girls, said she is not involved with the Kojikari case, but sees a familiar theme in Diana's alleged smuggling request. In human trafficking terms, Arrowwood said this is called familial trafficking, which is when a relative is involved or facilitates the process. As a mother, I think if something's happening to my child, you can almost like throw caution into the wind. Those things could happen. Arrowwood said moms think they're just trying to get out of the situation, whether it's domestic violence situation or a volatile situation, that there are unknowns, that they don't know how to prepare for that could end up being worse. While the full story is still unknown, Atwood says there is a foreign background, sometimes playing a role in some people avoiding turning to authorities for help, instead trying to find their own way out. It could be for fear of deportation, getting separated from their loved one, or not being believed. However, she reminds there is help out there. Here in the United States, we have protections, Arrowwood said. If you've been a victim of a crime and you're a foreign national, they actually have protections and can process your visa differently based on the fact that you were a victim of a crime. She encourages anyone needing help escaping a concerning environment, trafficking related or otherwise, to reach out to the Charlotte Metro Human Trafficking Task Force. Madalena was last publicly seen getting off her school bus on November 21st, 2022. Her mother later told police she saw her daughter last on November 23rd, 2022, but she did not report her missing for 3 weeks. When asked why it took so long, she told police she didn't want to start a conflict with her husband. That 3-week period violates Kaylee's law. Kojikari and Palmater were arrested on December 17th, 2022, and are still in custody. Both are expected back in court in May. So, wow. Yeah. A lot going on with Madalena's case. That's definitely a huge deal.
Yeah.
And she's still missing and unaccounted for. So, I don't know if I had her flyer handy, I would cover it. I know I sent it to you. We covered her a while back.
Well, I have this picture that I found on the internet, but yeah, we should definitely cover her flyer next week, and I'm assuming there'll be a lot more information next week too when we do the show. But
send me that picture too, because I want to crop that one on the left there and put it on the flyer.
Gotcha, big dog. Doing it right now.
My daughter just brought me a banana.
Have you been following that story where that girl, and she's saying she's that missing girl from back in the day? What is her name?
Oh, the Madeline McCann thing.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. It's one of the things I saw was the mom was supposedly trying to not let her voluntarily submit her DNA. So I don't know.
Duh. If it's her, she's like, let's not do that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd be interested to know. I mean, I don't know what this young lady thinks she is or whatever, but I mean, it'd be nice to find out for sure. Because Madeline's been missing for such a long time.
I mean, you think that if there was nothing to it, plus I'm a big conspiracy theory guy, so I'm pretty easy to sell. But you would think that if there was nothing to it, her parents could just be like, here's her birth certificate, here's the doctor that delivered. I mean, like I don't know about now, but up to like 10 years ago, the doctor that delivered me, my parents could find him. It was in Elkhart, Kansas,
Right.
But like, yeah, I'm just like, I'm assuming if it was that easy to disprove for her folks or whatever, it wouldn't be a news story. They could disprove it immediately. So I'm kind of curious as to how it's still in the headlines and her folks haven't provided anything to say otherwise. But this is her. I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
This wouldn't be the first time somebody saying that they were somebody they weren't,
Right.
Definitely a story worth following, but yeah, it's kind of an older story. That's been going on for a few weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I
here we
see
go.
some similarities, but
Don says, I saw something about there not being any hospital record of Julia's existence before age 5. Interesting.
that is interesting. Huh.
She says, sorry we are late. Facebook is not notifying me when you go live.
Yeah,
Sorry, Kelly.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Jamie says, you're talking about the one missing from Elkhart. Not tonight, no.
I'm becoming less than enamored with Facebook these days.
Yeah. Raylene says it's sketchy. I agree. Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to pan out. I'm going to be paying attention to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to follow it best I can.
Let's go ahead and talk about Dietrich Foster. And again, there is a $5,000 governor's reward on this case.
Right. Yep. Dietrich Foster's missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12th of 2020. Was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. He was last seen around April 12th, 2020. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. At the time of his disappearance, he was 37. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And as Derek mentioned, there is a $5,000 governor's reward available for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So if anybody has any of that information, get it called in immediately. See if we can't get him found and back home.
I looked his name up here on it's a Newsbreak website.
Mm-hmm.
It says he's from Parsons. That's where he graduated high school. He has 2 daughters.
Oh, wow.
He was a private security officer and a corrections officer. And he shares a birthday with his twin sister, Danica. So there's a bunch of people I just listed that really want to see Dietrich.
Yeah. Wow.
Says him and his sister stayed in touch daily through calls or texts until the day he went missing.
Wow. Well, that makes it pretty suspicious there. I've often wondered what, it says, they're conducting it as a homicide investigation based upon findings during the investigation into his disappearance. So I wonder what their findings were that led him in that direction.
Yeah. I'm looking through this article. It doesn't really say why. It just says that it doesn't really say why. It just says that there's a reward, and it said Dateline might have covered this. Is that what they're saying?
I think Dateline did.
Wow, I'm glad.
Yeah.
That is awesome that his case is getting that kind of coverage. That is great.
Yeah.
It's great to see any Kansas case on a national show, but I'm glad Dietrich's on there. We've been covering him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'll send you a message every week.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I've had other people tell me that too. The notifications are not kicking in. So
Facebook hates us. Rebecca says, when I worked at the jail, you have to be super careful. Upset the wrong inmate and things happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Let's talk about Craig Hackney.
Okay. This is one I just did a few days ago. Craig William Hackney, missing from Pleasant Valley, Missouri since March 1st, 2023. He's 46. He is 6'1", weighs 180 pounds, has blonde hair, blue eyes. And he was last seen in the Northland area of Kansas City, Missouri. He was last known to be driving a black 2011 Lincoln MKZ with mild damage to the passenger side bumper, headlight, and hood with Missouri license plate CW4H7Y. And he's 46. He's 6'1", 180 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. He may have shaved off the facial hair and may be clean shaven now. If you have any information regarding Craig's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Pleasant Valley, Missouri Police Department at 816-781-7373 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178. or their toll-free number, 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get Craig located and back to where he needs to be. I know he's getting some media coverage here and there, and I saw 2 websites today where they used, it's interesting, on the actual website they used from, and where it says missing from Pleasant Valley, missing since, age, height, weight, from there up of the flyer on the top part of the article. But if you click on the flyer, it gives you the full flyer, but they're using it on their website. So I thought that was
Yeah, I
cool.
found it right here on mycouriertribune.com.
Yeah. Then there was a St. Joe one, I think, too. It must be
Yeah.
affiliated because it's basically the same article with the same thing. So
No comments on the article on that website. Hopefully somebody says something on there, you know. Seems like it's like a pretty small place.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Craig, we can get some answers in that case.
Yeah.
No problem, Kelly. We will hit you up every week and let you know we're live.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Aiden Samad.
Okay, this is one I did last night, actually. He's missing from Wichita, Kansas. It's March 5th of 2023. He's 15 years old. He is 5'6", 640 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He was seen at approximately 9:10 that morning on March 5th. He was last seen wearing a red puff jacket over a black hoodie, black sweatpants, and a white beanie. If you have any information regarding Aiden's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Sedgwick County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Aiden located and back to where he needs to be.
Wow.
I've seen a couple of people comment on his flyer, Aiden go home and stuff like that. So there's people worried about him wanting to see him go back home.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he finds his way back home. I don't know. Is it spring break in Kansas right now?
Not yet. I think it's a week or so away.
Okay.
Here
Yeah, I was
pretty
gonna
soon.
say all these kids that are stressed out right now, they're gonna get a break soon, you know. But sometimes kids just need a break quicker. But if you see this, Aiden, go home. You got a few more weeks of school, then you get a break.
Right. Because I'm telling you, here a few days ago, it was kind of nuts here in Kansas. We had like 15 schools around the state that had reported in swatting calls of getting law enforcement being called and say, hey, there's an active shooter situation at this school. There's like 15 different towns: Garden City, Wichita, Topeka, here in Salina, a bunch of other ones around the state. All got this same Russell. All got this same call saying there was an active shooter in these schools. And it was just ridiculous. I was like, what is going on? I guess it happens all around the country, but it's weird. So many of them. The one I was reading the post from the Russell law enforcement about the one they got, and they said the person that called theirs in had like a Middle Eastern accent. So I don't know.
It happened in Garden City, Liberal.
Yeah, all over. I'm like, what is going on?
The Liberal one, the school was able to kind of figure out it was a joke pretty quickly because whoever called Liberal said they were a specific teacher in a specific classroom. So when the cops were en route to the school, they called the school and reported the situation. And the school was like, we don't have a teacher that works here with that name, and we don't have a classroom with that label. So they were like, okay. And I think by that point, but I was talking about this on another podcast I do in the Free Zone with Norm every Wednesday night, but we're going to be tomorrow night because I was sick last night. But we talked about this, and it happened, I think, in 12 schools that day that you're talking about. And to me, it really makes me wonder, and a lot of them are coming from Google numbers or overseas numbers. It really makes me wonder, why are they wanting to see how quickly our police can show up to a school?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's what they're doing. They're testing our timing. They're like, okay, we're going to call in this fake threat, and then we're going to see when the police show up, and we're going to see how much time we have, how much time it'll take the police. So to me, if you're like a terrorist, you're wondering, okay, say it's 7 minutes before the police get there. That's 7 minutes of mayhem, you know? So I think it's very leery that they're, and you're right, it's not just Kansas, it happens a lot, but I think I'm very worried that, this is happening in, entire states, at the same time. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Also makes me wonder if they're not doing it to try to get our guard down to actually try to pull something.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Esther says it all also happened in Dodge City.
Yeah. I mean, it was either 12 or 15 schools around the state. And there was quite a few. And I was like, what in the world is going on?
Dodge City, yeah. Chris says next week is spring break. Okay.
And I'm sure these kids after that are probably ready for it. I know I would be.
I agree, Kelly. It has been a weird few weeks. Very crazy.
Yeah.
Angela Colleen says, thank you for covering Craig's story.
You're very welcome, Angela.
Preston Tro says, Victor Cabrera shot and killed 2 years ago today. We are going to cover that here in a little bit. I do think it was 2 years ago, 2 days ago. I think. I'm not sure, but we'll find out here in just a minute. We'll be covering his case shortly. But let's go ahead and talk about this unsolved homicide here.
Yeah, this is our cold case card case this week. This one is Harmon Fenton and Sarah Palmer. This is March 5th, 1997, Cherokee County, Kansas. Harmon Fenton, 33, and Sarah Palmer, 19, were found shot to death in the bed of a pickup parked in a shed near Columbus, about 4 miles north of the Oklahoma state line in southeast Kansas. They'd been missing for more than a week when their bodies were found. If you have any information regarding the deaths of Harmon Fenton and Sarah Palmer, please call the Cherokee County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-429-3992 or the KBI 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can get some justice for their families.
That is just haunting.
Yeah. Found shot to death in a truck in a shed.
Southeast Kansas. That's on the other. I'm from Southwest Kansas. So that's just the other side of the state.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that that's on that. I love these cards. Like in most of these cases, I've never heard of.
Right.
And I do this show.
Yeah, I hadn't heard a lot of these either until I saw that deck and was going through it. I'm going, wow, I never heard of that one.
Oh, so this is it because they use some of your flyers to make the deck. This is actually a flyer you made from the deck.
Yeah, this is a flyer I made from the deck.
Nice.
Yep. I made flyers for all 52 cards.
That's another thing. Trisha says the old cry wolf, and when it really happens, the response could be slowed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking, my theory on that. Yeah.
Well, what was crazy is when liberals got called in, they were quick to realize that it was a hoax, but somebody called in and said they saw a student throw a gun over the fence. So they were like, what? So they investigated that, and they did have footage of a liberal school, a student threw an unloaded handgun over the fence. And the reason he did that is because he brought an unloaded handgun to school. I don't know. I don't think he was intending to shoot anybody. I think he just brought it to school. And whenever the alarms went off for a school shooting, he thought he was going to be looked at as a school shooter. So he went and threw the gun over the fence because he was like, I am not a school shooter. But that's another thing too. Like, so less students, let's not take guns to school, because how that could have went down in liberal is they could have called in that threat. The SWAT, the team could have been there. There could have been a campus cop there with a loaded gun. He sees you running out of the school with a gun in your hand, you're gonna get shot. Don't take a gun to school. No
doubt.
Even if it's unloaded, even if you're not trying, no, don't take it. That kid could have got shot running out of the school with a handgun during an active school shooting. Like, he's lucky to be here, in my opinion.
Right.
Let's talk about Alexander Perez.
Okay. Alex Smith from Ulysses, Kansas, since December 1st, 2020. He's 35 when he went missing. He's now 37. He's 5'11", 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He had called a family member on the phone on December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses, and he has not been heard from or seen by anybody since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding areas. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He would now be 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. He has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. He has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or at KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Alex located and back to his family where he needs to be.
Yeah, and I'd love to. I keep thinking to reach out and see how Irene's doing. You know, she started watching this show when he went missing, and she watched for a while, and then she kind of, hasn't been here for a while. And I understand she might not want to see these pictures every week, because she don't have any news about her family member. But as you can tell on the flyer, nobody has seen him in person, in his family, or anybody willing to talk to the police. Nobody has seen him physically since December 1st, 2020. This here is a voice message he sent to a source of ours on December 6th, 2020.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down here. It's been crazy. Fucking been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. It's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
Raylene says the voicemail is sad knowing it's the last they heard from him.
Yeah. Definitely is. And whether or not there's any connection between that and what did happen to him, or if anything, we don't know.
Yeah, and the message was sent on December 6th, but we don't know if it was sent like a live recording or if it was a voice message that was sent on the 6th, recorded on a previous date. There's really no way to tell on stuff like that. We just know that message was sent to our source on the 6th. So, yeah, it's just a really rough case. I know the family is kind of, tired. This has been going on a long time. I don't think that they've gotten really any updates at all, besides the occasional call to let them know they're working on it. And that's not a slight to law enforcement. I mean, hey, if anybody else has a better idea on how to solve this, by all means, the police are hiring. It's like, but they can't give the Perez family any answers until they have them. But it's just one of those things. We're going in December; it'll be 3 years, and if this was my son or my nephew or my brother, yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun.
No.
It's not good. I hate it. Let's talk about Jaden Robker.
Yeah, we've covered him before, but I wanted to cover him again because as of, I think it was yesterday, and the FBI is now involved in his case, and they are actually offering a $5,000 reward for anyone who can provide information on his whereabouts. So Jaden Robker is missing from Kansas City, Missouri since February 2nd, 2023. He's 13. He's 5'7", weighs 127 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen around 3 o'clock on the afternoon of February 2nd. He was last seen near Northwest Plaza Drive or Northwest Plaza Avenue. And he was 13. He's 5'7", weighs 127 pounds, has black hair, brown eyes. So last known to be wearing a green camouflage hoodie, gray sweatpants, black tennis shoes. He was on a black Razor skateboard. Family is definitely concerned for his welfare. If you have any information regarding his disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department's Juvenile Section at 816-234-5150 or 816-234-5100 or 816-234-5111. Or you can call the FBI's Kansas City Field Office at 816-512-8200 or the Crime Stoppers Hotline, 816-474-8477. And again, the FBI is offering a $5,000 reward for anyone who can provide information on Jaden's whereabouts. So if you have any information on him at all, get it called in ASAP. Let's get him found, make sure he's safe and okay, and get him back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, it looks like I was looking online. It looks like they've had a lot of people combing areas, searching, a lot of volunteers. The family did set up a PayPal. I mean, not a PayPal, what are those called? A GoFundMe to help with expenses, I see. But yeah, not a lot of updates. But I will tell you this, the story did make CBS News. So,
wow.
And I always wonder like how one case will make CBS, how one doesn't, who knows. But it seems like there's some information maybe we're not privy to about this case that would justify the FBI stepping in and getting involved.
See, that's what I was wondering is what is it about his case that got them involved? Because they don't do that for, every case or anything like that. There's got to be some kind of a circumstance that would have, aside from being missing for a little over a month. But
yeah, I mean, I wish every kid that was missing got a reward and got
I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're involved. I hope they find him. I hope he's okay. I was curious as to what maybe got them involved and, what kind of information they ran across that prompted that.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah.
Scary for anybody that loves him.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce.
Okay. Dana Bruce is missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she was missing. She's now 37. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair, green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the remainder of the night. She was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man that Dana was with that night. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana had parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have any credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She is 5'2", weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She's blind in her left eye. Dana has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or toll free at 866-362-6422 and see if we can't get Dana located and back to where she needs to be. I know her family is searching high and low and everywhere in between to try to find her. They have been for a long time. So let's see if we can't get something going and help them get her found and brought home.
Take this for a grain of salt. I don't know this. I mean, this is just something I found on the subreddit Without a Trace. It looks like 10 years ago, someone named Jen_Cornpone posted a true crime report article about Dana Jane Bruce. Now, 10 years ago, it says the latest on this case came last year in December. So 10 years ago in December. It says, according to a Sedalia police report, a female subject came to the station around 11 a.m. Sunday morning and made a statement that she had information on Dana Bruce, a Sedalia woman who had been missing for more than 2 years. There was no information on the identity of the female subject making the report or the information she gave in the statement. So I don't know who this Jen person is, but I'm wondering if that's maybe because there's no information being let out there. It just basically what that person's saying is somebody went in there and said something, but nobody knows what they said. So I don't know, but that's just what I found on the subreddit of Without a Trace.
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's no new information learned, but it is intriguing to hear that somebody's saying somebody went to the police station and said they had information. All deserve to be highlighted. They're important.
Definitely, Lacey. Definitely.
Oh, see, Ellen says it's true.
That is true. Oh, wow.
She says they didn't want to believe her because of her past. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's stupid.
Ellen, we need to talk sometime. That is bonkers. If that's true, some lady went in there and told them she knew what happened and they said they didn't believe her. That's bonkers. And I'm going to reach out to this person who posted this, but geez, this was 10 years ago. They posted that. That was a long time ago. So hopefully they're still around. Yeah, terribly sad case. We can hope we can. I'm glad I learned that little bit tonight. And I'm glad that she said that was true. And we learned something new tonight.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, is it Dava?
I think it's Dava, Charlene Leonard. I just did this flyer today. It's Charlene Leonard, excuse me. Can't even talk tonight. Missing from Divide, Colorado since February 28th of 2021. So it's been a little over 2 years now. She was 39 when she was missing. She's now 41. She's 5'2" to 5'4", and she weighs between 120 and 130 pounds. Has brown hair, green eyes. She was last seen at her boyfriend's residence on February 28th, 2021. Some reports were saying March 3rd, but apparently it was actually February 28th, not in March. She does not have a cell phone or a vehicle, and there has been no activity on her bank account. At the time of her disappearance, Dava was 39 years old. She's now 41. She's 5'2" to 5'4", weighs between 120 and 130 pounds. She has long brown auburn hair and green eyes. She was wearing a gray Columbia jacket and jeans. Dava does have a piercing below her left eye. She wears black cat-eyed glasses. Dava has a dragon tattoo on her back and a tattoo and scar on her left arm. She also wears dentures. If you have any information regarding Dava's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Teller County, Colorado Sheriff's Office at 719-387-7223 or 719-687-9652 and see if we can't help get some information generated in her case and get her found and back to where she needs to be.
Wow.
Yeah, some of the information I saw was that apparently she was in a pretty abusive relationship, and I don't know if that factors into anything, but I don't know. Hopefully we can help get her found and back to her family. That's kind of scary.
Wow. You know, I'm sitting here tonight. It's like the first time I'm like sitting here trying to look at like articles. I found an article about Dava.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here reading it. Pretty much everything you said is, in this article. And then I see a comment on this website. It's like a news station website. And it's somebody saying, call me. We've been working on this case. And they put their phone number. So I was like, okay, like maybe I should text this, say, hey, what do you know? So I did a quick Facebook search of the person who made the comment's name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a psychic. I hate that. call me, I have information. No, you thought of. I mean, I'm not saying that being a psychic's not real, but in my opinion, that's not hard evidence. Like that's not, And I feel like usually those people are trying to get paid for those services.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Well, let's talk about your buddy Kenny Rychek.
Yeah, I wish there was some more information on him and some updates, but I haven't seen or heard anything. But he's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since November 4th of 2019. He was 69 when he was missing. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the name Brown as opposed to Rychek. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability. He has not tried to access any of the funds since he was last seen, and he may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since. He does not have a cell phone, vehicle, or any identification. His main mode of transportation was his bicycle that he would ride around town to pick up scrap metal and take it to the scrapyard and sell it over here on 5th Street. It used to be called Salina Iron and Metal. Now it's called All Metal Recycling. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds. He has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department. It's 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274637, or visit www.pd.salina.org. Follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way, or call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be. It's been way too long.
Yeah. There's not a single another picture of Kenny online.
No. I was doing Tatum's Guardian podcast before this one, and we were talking about the lack of pictures, like on KBI and on NamUs and things of that nature. And I was saying it just blows my mind that I've got this flyer up of Kenny, got a picture of him, but you look him up on KBI, they don't have a photo of him at all.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I get it? But they don't. I don't get it. Of course, I snagged mine off of a news article about him being missing when they ran it on one of the local radio station websites. But still, I mean, it's obvious that, they could get that picture. It's not hard.
Comments do not represent this station, but we like to share people's comments. Preston says Kenny had a trust fund. Someone kidnapped him.
Yeah, a trust fund. Someone Okay.
That would be the first time we've heard that.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Preston also says he may have got turned around and froze to death that winter. That's a very true situation. It was cold. It ended up being cold, in November. It's cold in Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
But I would think that if he perished in the cold, like his body would have surely been found by now,
Yeah. Yeah. You would think.
Raylene says, so sad, makes you wonder if he wandered off or he's out. Yeah, we've talked about that, Raylene. Kenny is what I'd call a rambling man, kind of lived by his own code, didn't have a driver's license, just kind of he knew where to go to get what he needed. Sounds like he, collected junk to make extra money. So I don't know this guy from Adam, but just knowing what little bit I do know about him, he seems like a guy that I could totally make sense of being like just sticking his thumb out on the highway, and maybe he's living in like some other state, just living the highway. Who knows? But it is very concerning that nobody's heard from him.
He may not even realize
he was getting money.
If he's still out there, he may not even realize he's missing.
Yeah. But he has money he hasn't collected, so that makes you really wonder, like who turns away money that they're getting. Preston also says he lived a block away from the police station.
He used to, yeah. I found out that they evicted him from his apartment, but he wasn't the only one apparently that was uprooted from their apartments over there. But because they tore those houses down and then they made a private parking lot for the police officers there. I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay.
That's no good.
No. So it was kind of a situation where he didn't have a choice, but he had to move.
When you say he moved, did he move to a structure, or was that was when he was living on the streets?
Well, my understanding was he was taken out to the mission by the police department, and people have told me that his stuff was all seen out on the curb after he was taken out there. So
Was he taken out there by the police abruptly after the eviction?
that's what I was told. He was taken, they evicted him and took him right out there.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's all weird to me.
Well, that's Brandon. Yes or no? Sketchy.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon's watching TV.
I heard somebody beep in backstage, but I didn't know who it was.
He's watching The Bachelor.
No, sheesh.
No, I'm just kidding.
I never could get into those shows.
She says, "Oh man, that Donna says that's terrible." Yeah.
It
My
is.
wife got me into The Bachelor. Turns out I like watching attractive people cry.
Okay.
Makes me feel better about myself. Let's talk about Joseph. This looks like this is from Tatum's page.
Yeah, this was the one that was brought up last week and asked about. Joseph Kiesling, missing from Shawnee, Kansas since January 27th of this year. He's 17. He's 5'8", 120 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. He's known to wear his hair up in a ponytail, has a scar on the right side of his stomach from a previous injury. He goes by Jojo or Joe. He does have some mental health issues and has had some suicidal ideations in the past. He has a tattoo, KC913, on his forearm, Bobby on the inside of his left wrist, a cross with NK39 between his thumb and index finger, and BOE in light blue ink, unknown location. Joseph was seen leaving his home at 10:40 a.m. on January 27, 2023, wearing a black coat, black jeans, black hat with blue marijuana leaves on it. Told his family he'd be back for an appointment that he had at noon that day. He left his home on foot, but it's unknown if he met up with anybody. Does not have a phone, but does have his wallet. His family found a note about going to the woods. His girlfriend had moved to Texas recently, was to be in town the day he went missing. It's not known if they met up or if they are together. They had FaceTime prior to him leaving his home. Family did discover all of his clothing and hygiene were also missing from the home. His social media has been deactivated. Joseph could still be in the Shawnee, Kansas area or travel to Texas. He has been known to hang out in Gum Springs Park. Family is concerned for his safety and welfare. If you have any information regarding Joseph's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, call the Shawnee, Kansas Police Department, 913-742-6731, or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't help get Joseph located and back to where he needs to be.
So it looks like Shawnee's up there by Lenexa.
Yeah.
And it's got 67,000 people there. That's a pretty decent sized little town.
Wow.
And it's in Johnson County. I don't know if this is true or not, but from what I've been told, Johnson County is an expensive place to live as far as I don't know much about Eastern. I just heard that that's like a more expensive area to live in. But yeah I would have thought Shawnee was more middle of the state, but I was way wrong on that. I'm looking these up tonight as we do it. But yeah, that's really rough. Yep, missing person, guardian voice of the missing. Make sure you follow them on Facebook.
Yeah. And I forgot to tell her I was going to use that flyer tonight. Hope she doesn't get mad at me.
Like it says, there are a lot more to this story.
Yeah.
Agreed. Let's talk about Dimitri.
Okay, I was asked to reshare this one yesterday, so got him back up and running again. Demetric DeWitt, missing from Parsons, Kansas since October 14th of last year. So it's been a few months now. He's 15 years old. He's 5'5", 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. It's believed he may still be in the Parsons area, or he may be in the Independence, Kansas area. And he's 15 years old. He is 5'5", 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Demetric's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or 620-421-7057 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get him located and back to where he needs to be.
Every time I put in these, not so much the newer cases you've done, but anytime I've put in, like I just put in his name on Google to search, see if there's any updates.
Right.
And I'm finding a lot of YouTube and TikTok true crime people that are using the flyers.
Cool. I have no problem with that. If they want to use them.
No, it's cool. I'm just. Have you ever heard of Arctic Fox True Crime?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I've actually spoken with him in Twitter Messenger before.
Yeah, he has a video for Demetric. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's using your flyer. That's awesome. Yeah, I love you try to, when you see it in the wild, you send it to me. But I always like seeing a KMU flyer out in the wild.
Yeah. I do too. It makes me feel good that people trust my stuff enough to use it.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mark Ricchetti.
Okay, this one's a Wichita, Kansas case. That's the only photo I was able to get a hold of, and basically what the photo is, here in Kansas, you go get your driver's license renewed. They give you that printout thing, and until your license comes in the mail. Well, that's what that picture is. It's on that printout thing from the driver's license place. But anyway, he's missing from Wichita, Kansas since February 27th of 2023. He is 58 and he's 5'7". He weighs between 135 and 140 pounds. Has gray or partially gray hair and brown eyes. He does have mental health issues, and there is concern for his safety and well-being. And he's 58. He's 5'7", weighs between 135 and 140 pounds. He has gray or partially gray hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Mark's disappearance, or you know of his whereabouts, please call 911 immediately, or call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Mark located and back to where he needs to be. And I know they were going to be printing out his flyer and getting it put up around Wichita and see if they can't find him.
Yeah, I can't. I there's nothing. There's your post about him, but that's it on Google.
Yeah, I did a Facebook search and I found several posts on Facebook, and they're all using that same photo, except for they're using the full thing, the full printout from the driver's license place. And I'm like, I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to crop it down.
Yeah, you hate to see someone's missing and you see that their family's saying that they have mental health issues, and
yeah,
hopefully he's all right and he goes home soon.
Hope so. I hope so.
Okay, we got 2 more cases tonight, and then we are going to play a located safe for you. Let's go ahead and talk about Catherine Baker.
Okay, this is an unsolved homicide that was actually sent to me in the inbox of the Missouri Missing and Unsolved page. So I went ahead and made a flyer for her. Her name's Kathy Baker. She this is back on April 15th, 1990 in Kansas City. She was last seen on the night of April 14th, 1990, or on the morning of April 15th, 1990. Her body was discovered about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on April 19th, 1990, north of 4220 Northeast Birmingham Road on Old 210 Highway. It was off a closed road in a remote area near the woods. Catherine was known to frequent several bars in the North Kansas City area. Helen's on 210 Highway, Marcy's on Vivian Road, and the Depot in Avondale, Missouri. Catherine was last seen at one of these bars prior to her disappearance. While they do not know for sure, police think Catherine may have encountered the suspect at one of the bars. The suspect then murdered her and dumped her body at the location where she was discovered. If you have any information that can help solve Catherine's murder, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department Cold Case Squad at 816-234-5136 or 816-234-5111 and see if we can help get some justice for Catherine and her family.
Wow. Avondale, Missouri.
I tell you, I think if Missouri ever decides to start doing cold case card decks, I would be more than willing to do flyers for their deck too.
Yeah. I wonder who you would need to contact to see if they're working on that.
I don't know. That's a good question.
There's got to be somebody, at least. Thank you to Stephanie Relaford for bringing me a fresh cup of coffee.
I can't drink coffee.
I'm immune, man. I'm gonna drink this cup of coffee. I'm gonna hang out with Brandon after the show, and then as soon as I go to my room, within 3 minutes I'll be snoring. Not even snoring anymore, but I'll be so asleep within 3 minutes of my head hitting the pillow.
Oh man,
a lot of people are jealous of that. My dad, he not that lucky. Insomnia. He has trouble going to sleep.
That's my daughter. She does too. She has to actually take my night meds to help her actually sleep.
And people don't realize how awful that is.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. That would wear me out.
It's not good for your health just to be awake all the time and restless. And
yeah.
My dad's been that way his whole life, but it's getting worse with his age. But it's time for tonight's featured case.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I be up all morning, but I love coffee.
I can't do caffeine because I have an accelerated heart rate and caffeine just gets it going too much. So I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. You don't drink caffeine. But tonight,
I haven't had caffeine for nearly 17 years. So
really?
Yeah. Yep. That's when the first time my heart went into AFib, and I was in the hospital, and they gave me the sheet listing all the possible contributors, and caffeine was on the list. I'm like, well, caffeine's gone.
Yeah.
First thing on the list was being a male. I'm like, well, I'm out of luck right out of the gate. So
tonight's featured case is an unsolved homicide out of Garden City, Kansas. Victor Cabrera. I've been seeing a lot of people posting about this recently, and there is a Facebook. I don't think it's a page. I think it's a profile. I'm not sure. It says it's a blog, but everybody that watches the replay or listens to the podcast, please go to Facebook and follow Remember Victor Cabrera. Just remember Victor Cabrera. And it's a blog that I'm assuming somebody from his family has been keeping up. But this is the anniversary was 2 days ago of Victor losing his life to gun violence. Ricky's going to tell you all about
it. Garden City, Kansas, March 7th, 2021. Around 7 p.m., officers of the Garden City Police Department were dispatched to the 1400 block of Fulton in reference to a man shot in the head. Officers arrived on scene and located Victor Cabrera, 32, with a gunshot wound to the head. Victor was transported by Finney County EMS to St. Catherine's Hospital and later flown to Via Christi in Wichita, where he died. The investigation into Victor's death is ongoing. Garden City Police Department is requesting assistance from the community. If you witness this incident or have information related to this incident, you should call the Garden City, Kansas Police Department at 620-276-1300. If you want to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers at 620-275-7807 or text your tip to the Garden City PD. Text GC tip and your tip to tip 411 or 847-411 and see if we can't help get some justice for Victor and his family.
Yeah.
Getting to be long overdue.
Did I talk to somebody about this? Again, all grain of salt. This is just a conversation, a private conversation I have with somebody. From what I understand, oh no. I think that was my when I think of this case, and I think the reason I hesitate to say this because I think that I'm not saying Victor Cabrera would be in a situation where there was something illegal going on. I don't know the guy at all, but I'm just saying when he got shot, if something, even if he wasn't aware about it, any type of illegal activity as far as somebody buying $5 worth of pot in the state of Kansas, everybody that was there gets charged with murder. Because and it's if it happens, if a homicide happens while a crime's taking place, everybody there gets charged with the same thing. So if there was multiple people in the room and one person did a horrible thing, but there was something illegal in the room, I could see why everybody would take it to the grave. Because you can't just say that guy did it because everybody goes down for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I have no idea if that happened. I'm just thinking I see somebody with a gunshot to the head, and I don't know. I just know that what was her name? I can't. She ran for governor a few years ago, and her son was like he wasn't the aggressor, but it was during a marijuana transaction. Her son was there. Somebody else shot somebody, and they died. And I don't know what happened. I was following the case for a long time, but basically the state of Kansas was trying to charge her son for murder because he was there.
Oh wow.
So I don't know if that, again, I hate just saying stuff, but I'll just, thank you so much for speaking to my brother again. Victor lived with me for 6 months. He was my brother. No one asked anything. Ask anything I'd know. Crazy how now everyone has cameras in. Yeah.
That's a good point. Cameras
She
everywhere.
says, we appreciate you all for sharing about Vic. Our whole family misses him.
You're very welcome. We
I
hope it helps. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you listen to that Alexander Perez voicemail,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, a lot of crazy, S word happening in GC. And I lived in Garden City for a long time, from 2009 to 2018, and I didn't see the dark side of Garden City. Granted, I didn't go looking for it, and I pretty much just went to work and stayed home. But there is a dark side to Garden City. But the truth is, it's really just a lesson, and there's a dark side to every town you live in. And you really got to be careful who you spend your time with. And I don't know. Yeah, and again, she says it's a lot of stuff happening and due to drugs. And again, I have no idea because I don't know Victor at all. I'm not gonna try to put out there like that it was like a drug situation. I'm just saying, based on what I knew about, I think her name was something Julie Wynn. Her kid, I just watched this whole trial of them trying to pin a murder on him, and he really had nothing to do with it. Rather than, I think he introduced the guy, and then he didn't know he was going to rob him. So in the state of Kansas, everybody that was in the room, if somebody gets shot during where anything illegal is going on, everybody gets charged. And that's to me, I think that's not great because it's going to give you that situation where people are afraid to talk. Because if they point the finger at anybody, if they were in that room, technically they're going to get the same. It's like they might as well have pulled the trigger.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. Preston says, I seen Vic 2 weeks before he was killed. His baby was on the sofa and someone did a drive-by. I asked him about it and he said they couldn't shoot very good.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, if anybody in Victor's family is still watching, you can reach out to me. My name is Derek Evan Relaford on Facebook. I'd love to talk to you. I do a show called If You Want to Get Away with Murder. It's a podcast where I basically let families tell their side of the story, and that's about it. But I'd love to feature Victor's case. And like I said, I've been I share Victor's flyer in that Garden City chat page probably like twice a year. I share Alexander Perez's, Rachel Pratt. You know, there's a lot of cases in Garden City. But yeah, very very sad situation.
Yep.
How about some good news?
Okay.
Okay. Made by Brandon Smith at B Smith Productions. If you need any audio or video work, hit us up. Here's a located safe by our buddy Brandon.
Thank you.
I always like to see the located safes. Those are always good.
I really enjoy them too. That was a beautiful. I think that was a remix. I know that was new music because we're trying not to get in trouble with Facebook. You know,
Curse
that's
them
what we're
anyway.
trying to do. Yeah. But it looks great. Brandon Smith is doing a heck of
Yeah.
a job putting that together.
Yeah.
Cheryl, yeah, hit me up. I'm gonna post my name in here, Derek, because there's a Derek Relaford Facebook, but I don't know how to get into it anymore. So there's just like 1,000 messages from people, just saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I can't get into it. But if you look up Derek Evan Relaford, that's the one that I check. What were you saying? Oh, here we go. David Clark, Ricky, Derek, reach out to me when you can. I would be glad to share more regarding mom's case. Patsy D. Clark missing. Okay.
Yeah.
David, I just shared my name in the chat. Add me on Facebook, and I'd love to talk about that more.
Yeah. Yeah. David and I spoke on the phone a few days ago and had pretty lengthy conversation about his mom and her case and everything. And yeah, there's a lot of information.
David,
Definitely.
I'm off Sunday and Monday, which means Saturday night and Sunday night I stay up late. So maybe you can call me. I'd love to talk. Trisha says she liked the located safe. Appreciate it. I'll tell Brandon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see him here in just a minute.
Cool.
Well, we are going to. Yeah, that's everything. We are going to get out of here. Ricky's gonna do what he does.
Yep.
And great show, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
Glad I got my computer situation fixed. Thank you again, Jeff, for that.
Yeah, again, Cornerstone Realty. Find him on Facebook. Just Cornerstone Realty, Jeff Butler. CornerstoneKS.net. Real estate agent for the state of Kansas. I might be hitting him up. I'm trying to talk my old lady into moving back. She said no, but I can keep trying.
I can't thank Jeff enough for this little computer, and I can't thank Derek enough for arranging it because he's the one that posted out there asking, if anybody could help us out. So, yeah, thank you to both of them for helping me out here.
You look great.
I look old.
Well, I mean, I'm just happy that you're not Robot Ricky because I
know that was
I gotta
annoying.
tell you, I don't like Robot Ricky.
Yeah, it frees up and go. It's like, okay, enough of that.
There was like a 7-second delay between when we would talk, so
Yeah,
now things are good.
yeah,
Now things are good. I'm not even charging our sponsors for last month. I didn't send out invoice. I was just like, yeah, that didn't work out. We didn't have a show all month.
right.
But yeah, Ricky's gonna get us out of here. Let me see. Great located safe. Ellen Dotsworth says. Trisha says, great show. Thank you so much. But yeah, Ricky's gonna get us out of here, and we'll see you all Tuesday.
All right. Well, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to go over these cases and see if we can't bring some missing people home and get some answers on some of these unsolved homicides and get some justice for some families. And it's been an interesting week, and we just really could use some help and some guidance getting these people found. And until we see each other again next week, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. God bless everybody, and amen.
Amen.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought, and a person the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to this playful assault, to disgrace in this arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death or water, left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it, the crown fits.